Well, howdy folks, welcome back to another Bad 66 Chevelle video here. I'm working on this Durango here and just got this thing torn down a little bit more here. I got the water pump off of it, got the fan off of it, and I was able to get the fan off without getting that stupid tool, which wasn't too bad, but I was able to get that off. This one is actually lefty loosey, righty tighty, so it's actually like normal. Some of them are the threads has reverse threads on some of them. This one's normal, but I got to get the fan off this thing. I got a brand new fan clutch I'm gonna put on it. Got a brand new radiator for it. I got new radiator hoses for it. I got a brand new water pump I'm gonna put on this thing, as well as the heater core. And I've taken it a step further and trying to get my shadow out of the way here. Sorry about that. But I knocked the two front freeze plugs out of this thing here. And now I learned something new. I did not know this, but there are two different size freeze plugs here. You got a smaller one on the passenger side, then you have a little bigger one on the driver's side. They are two different size freeze plugs. But anyway, I knocked them out, and I've been trying to flush this thing out here as much as I could. I really need a garden hose because you need something with decent water pressure. I mean, I wouldn't put a whole lot on it, but you need enough to flush everything out. That's all the part of the floating flushing process there. And anyway, I'm just trying to do the best I can. But anyway, I'm just taking water here and trying to flush this block out as good as I possibly can. And I'm actually held my hand on a couple of them right there and filled the block all the way up with water, and then I just took my hand off and let everything kind of push itself out. So hopefully that'll help. And then I got the thing of antifreeze right there. I'm gonna just run a little bit through it because it's cold now, wintertime, and I don't want to freeze and bust my block there. I'm just going to run a little bit through it till it comes out green, then I know it'll be alright. But so I got the freeze plugs knocked out on it. I'm getting ready to take in, we're going to go a step even further on it, and we're going to pull this balancer off here and this timing cover, because it's no point putting the water pump back on because I know it's going to leak anyway. And plus you already done got all these bolts out here on the top. You only got 4 more. You got 2 on this side and 2 on this side. And we're going to go a step further and get this balancer off, get this timing cover on off here, and then we went ahead and we got a brand new timing chain for it. I done the order for it. That's done came. Everything's done came for it. And the only thing I got left to order is I'm going to replace this harmonic bouncer on it. Not really because of the seal. The seal doesn't look really that bad, truthfully. Actually looks okay. But I'm replacing it because on the back of this balancer here, a lot of times that seal that's in this timing cover, it wears a groove in this balancer, and over time it'll leak oil a little bit. But this one, I can't really tell if it was really leaking or not. It might have been just a little bit. This motor really didn't use hardly any oil. But I'm going to pull it off, replace it. You can buy sleeves for them, and you can sleeve them, but I don't like doing that because I'm just going to spend the money, just put a whole new one on it and be done with it. That way everything on the front of this thing will be new. And I'd like to take it even a step further. Almost just at the point I really just want to pull this motor out and just freshen it up. That's really what I'd like to do. That's really what I'd like to do, is just pull this motor out and just clean it up and throw a gasket kit in it and just clean the heads up real good, and if the cam ain't too bad. Because I'm kind of curious if this thing's got a roller cam or not. I really don't know. It's a 98, I would assume it was, but I don't know much about the Dodge stuff, and I'm pretty sure it does, but I'm going to have to pop a valve cover off this thing and kind of like to look down in the lifter valley and find out if it is or not. But anyway, I'm trying to do everything I can because get everything done and be done with it, and I ain't got to worry about it in the future. And I was trying to see if I could get to the freeze plugs on the side here, and really it wouldn't be that big deal. Just pull this exhaust manifold off here, and then I could do the ones on the side of the block. And all of them would be replaced except for the ones on the back between the bell housing and the block. That'd be only a downfall. So, you know, you kind of got to worry about that sometimes, but you never know. Get all of them replaced, and then you get the last ones on the back you couldn't get to, starting to leak. I just wish I could pull this thing out for a lot of reasons, just to freshen it up and throw a gasket kit in it, and throw a new oil pump and all on it, and you know, just go over it and check it, make sure it's not too terrible, and as long as the compression's good and it ain't got too bad of a ridge in it, I'd just throw a new set of rings in it and just let it ride. I mean, it don't use oil, it don't smoke or nothing, but it's just one of them things. It's getting old now. It's a 98, and you know, I want this thing to last as long as possible, especially being four-wheel drive here, and kind of like to fix this thing on up. And I've always said too, if this computer stuff or all these electronics, if that EFI stuff starts failing on it, I'm gonna pull this timing cover off here, and I'm gonna do a little more research just to be sure. But pretty sure I could just run an old school bell housing there. I mean, not bell housing, timing cover. I'm pretty sure I could pull that timing cover off there and run an old school timing cover there, and swap that balancer out. Well, actually, I probably wouldn't even have to switch that balancer. No, I don't think I have to do it. I think it's like Chevrolet. You can just swap just the pulley and leave the balancer in place. But anyway, and then that way I could run a mechanical fuel pump on it and throw like a old rock or Holly intake on it and a Holly carburetor and keep on going with it, you know. And then just delete all this clutter. But I ain't ready to do that yet. We got plenty of room back here to fit an HEI distributor in it. But I don't know why, I just love them HEI distributors, so slick. I mean, just throw them in there and you ain't got to worry about it. The only thing I'd have to worry about on this is if this is a roller cam, which, you know, I'm sure it is anyway, but, you know, I'd like to take and, you got to make sure you get the right distributor gear to run with that roller cam and all that. If you don't, the teeth will wear out and they won't mesh right, and basically it'll self-destruct itself more or less. Something about you got to run a bronze gear with a roller cam. I don't know, something like that. And then, you know, old flat tablet cam, you could just run an old regular old gear on it. As far as I know, regular old cast iron gear or steel gear. But I've heard you're not supposed to run steel gear on it. But then again, you know, that's what those distributors have in those vehicles over there. My C10 that Ford's going to have soon. My Etzel has it, and my Chevelle has it way back in the woods there, and you know, I've never had trouble with it, so I don't know. But I do know the roller cam thing is definitely you got to worry about. You got to make sure you have the right gear for that on your distributor there. And then you got to have that cam button so it keeps the cam from walking back and forth, keeps the end play down, because you're allowed very, very little end play on a roller cam. But anyway, here, that's a little off subject here. I'm trying to just go on and freshen this thing on up and at least do the front of it here. You know, I ain't gonna go too crazy on it. You know, I'm trying to do everything right on the front here, because I mean, you got it down anyway, and you know, here we are. This is 2020, and this was in 98. I mean, you might as well go on and just do it right, do like I'm doing, and knock these freeze plugs out here, and then you ain't got to take all this stuff off just to get to them two freeze plugs. And what do they cost? A couple dollars a piece, and they're not that hard to drive in. Just make sure and drive them in straight, and don't drive them in too far. But this is the one for the passenger side. I like to measure them. I got a micrometer here. I'll measure them out. I don't know if this one, maybe 1 5/8 inches, maybe. I'm not sure. I'll have to measure it. Some of y'all Chrysler people might know out there. And you got a little smaller one on the driver's side here. Usually they say, imagine if I clean all that grease and crud off of it, you could probably see it where it's stamped. It probably says. But then again, these are probably original, so they might not even say nothing. They might be blanks. But I figured they would have been kind of rough, but no, they're not that bad. I was surprisingly. This one, I mean, they're not really corroded. That's just all the trash that was in the block there. I mean, you scrape all that off. It's not really, it's rust, but the freeze plug itself is not, you know, corroded, if that makes sense there. But that, all that garbage right there. Focus. Focus. Here we go. But all that garbage there was basically in the radiator. It's in the radiator. Come on, focus. Sorry about that. All that was in the radiator, the water pump. Well, not horrible, but it was running through the water pump. A lot of it was in the radiator and the heater core, but that was the main reason why I'm doing all this. And I've been trying to flush this thing out here. And I've just been taking water here, and I wish I had a water hose, because I could stick a water hose down in this intake port here and hold my hand over them two holes and let it fill completely up. And then just take my hand off, and it'll help flush all that out. And because I really don't want to sit there and do all this work and put a brand new heater core in it just for all that trash to flow back through it and stop it right back up. But the other one you couldn't even blow through. That's how bad it was. Let's see if I can do this here. Alright, let's watch it here. Tool phone. Take a look at this. Yeah, it's pretty clear for the most part. Yeah, it's a little rough. But you can see it. That's why I'm trying to flush it out. So I tried to take something and, you know, get up in there and break all that up and keep taking water and flush it out. Maybe like a, trying to think here. You can probably take a regular old toothbrush and get in there and do it, but to break all that corrosion up. I just didn't want all this garbage in this block here to stop up my heater core. And plus, it's not going to hurt it anyway. I mean, if it's that much trash in there, you know, that'll make it overheat, really. But, come on, focus. There we go. That'll make it overheat. So I'm going to take a little bit of this antifreeze here. And just put a little bit. This is actually concentrated, so what water is in there anyway. Alright. And just wait for it to come through. Got to turn a little green there. And put a little bit more. It's actually concentrated, so whatever water's in there, it'll mix anyway. But there we go. I know that's not really good to do, but it'll be alright. I just don't want it to get cold and it freeze and crack the block, and then, you know, you do all this work and put it back together and then find out it's got a cracked block because I left water in it. But anyway, so I'm gonna take in. I was gonna throw the water pump back on here and throw freeze plugs in it and let it ride, but we're not gonna do that because we're gonna take and do it right, as my friend Pete says. Uh-oh. That's not good. Oh man. Yeah, as my friend Pete says, we're going to take our time and do it right. And well, we're definitely going to pull that time cover off now. I just noticed that. That thing got a crack in it. Man. Yep, sure does. So we'll be replacing this timer cover as well. Wow. It's old though. did something. I just noticed that. That's the first time that I saw that on camera too. So. Always something. So I'll be ordering a timing cover and a bouncer for it. And putting a timing chain on it. And we're going to have to spin it over and get it top dead center too before we pull the rest of it off. Oh well. It is what it is. At least when it's put back together, it'll be right. Bad part about it is them timing covers are kind of expensive. But anyway, that's where we're at. And that bracket, I don't know why people talk about that bracket being so horrible to get it off. It's not that bad to get it off, to get that hose off. Because with that on there, you got a hose, the bypass hose that goes from the intake here to our water pump on the other side here. Right there. It's not that hard to take off. Just a few bolts, take it off, flip it up like I did, and then you can get right to that hose there and pull it right on off. I actually got it sitting right here, but that was another reason why I pulled it off, because I wanted to replace this hose as well. See all that trash in it there. That goes right there. But that's why I want to do it right. We're going to put this thing back together right, and hopefully it'll be alright for a good while. So, unfortunately, I'm going to have to pull that timing cover off for sure now. Which means we'll definitely be ordering a bouncer. But that's alright. It'll be okay. But anyway, I figure, you got it apart, you might as well order everything that you need. And that way when you put it all back together, you do it one time and you're done. You shouldn't have to mess with it ever again. New parts don't mean it's going to run perfect though. You never know, you can still get, a bad new part. But try to get this thing straightened out here. And I checked the bearings and they're out of their pulley here. And yeah, seem alright. I don't want to keep throwing money at it, but at the same time, stuff like this hose here, it's just maintenance things that need to be changed just for peace of mind. And anyway, I'll probably just leave this timing cover on here temporarily for now, in case the weather gets bad or something. I don't want to get water up in the oil pan there. But yeah, that's another thing. I'd like to drop the paint on this thing and throw an oil pump on it too. But I don't know. Trying to do everything I possibly can to get as much life as I can out of this thing, because this is the best running vehicle I have when it was running and all that. And I'm trying to retire my C10 over there and trying to get my 78 on the road, because my 78, that's going to be the next vehicle I drive when I need a truck. I'm going to drive my 78 forward there, and then my C10, I'm going to park it, and eventually, like I talked about way back in the other videos, I want to make that four-wheel drive. I want to lift it and put mud tires on it and put maybe a 6-inch lift on it, and I like to put it on a square body. Then I thought about putting it on an F-150 frame, just like my 78 there, because I love that frame setup. Because like I mentioned before, you got a good strong rear end because you get the 9-inch rear end, so that's a good gain right there. So it means you can change the center out without pulling the whole rear end out, which really, I don't know why it would matter anyway. I mean, it's not that hard to pull a whole rear end out. But you would gain a 9-inch rear end, plus you would gain a rear gas tank for it as well. And then the huge gain would be having leaf springs versus these coil springs on the back, because I hate them. I don't like them. And it'd be so much nicer you could ride down the road and not hear gas sloshing around and have to smell gas all the time. And it rides so much better. And you could be able to haul a little more. Still half ton. I mean, you can't haul so much, but just be a lot better. But heard supposedly you could put 3/4 ton leaf springs on it and coil springs on the front, but that's what I really thought about doing, is putting this thing on the F-150 frame, taking this whole body off and replace this front clip here and take just that cab and that bed and set it on a F-150, not that one, but on a four-wheel drive truck, and go that route. But I don't want to lose my lug pattern, and I'd have to figure out something about the steering column. The body mounts wouldn't matter because you could custom make them. I mean, you could fabricate something for that, but and the wheelbase really wouldn't matter that much because they're actually, I parked them side by side, they're actually very close. I had to get a tape measure and measure them for sure, but they're very, very close. So as long as the wheel sits in the center of that wheel housing there, I think it'll be alright. But so that's why I'm trying to get all this done and take my time, do it right on the Durango here, and that way I can have nice warm heat, because my C10 right now is the only one that has heat. I did all that work on my F-150 over there. Anyway, that's why I'm trying to spend all this time getting this Durango straight. That way it's done, and it's done right, and I ain't gonna worry with it. And I'm gonna regret it, because I'm gonna probably end up saying later on, you know, I should just went on and just pulled the motor out and at least cleaned it up and quote unquote freshened it up and put it back in, and you know, threw new rings and all in it, new rod, bearings, main bearings, cam bearings, all that good stuff. Do just that and let it ride. Because the bad part about it is not that expensive. It's really not. It's a lot of work, but I mean, it's not that expensive to get, really. That's what I basically did to my 78 Ford over there. I pulled the heads and all off of it, and really needs a motor for it to kind of put a band-aid on it for now, but I just did all that just so I could at least drive around and not get a bunch of water in the hole and all that, because that motor's pretty much ruined anyway. But I'm going to find another one, definitely, and replace it. But I was just trying to at least get it where I can take it up down the road. But that's what I'd like to do. This is put a gasket kit in it and buy a little more time, and because I'm not buying a newer vehicle. You know, this is what I got. I'm not sinking any money in a newer vehicle. You know, I get beaters, and that's all I got. You know, I just keep them going as long as I possibly can. Then if something happens to them, God forbid they get wrecked or something, then I just junk them. I'm done with it. I don't sell them. I don't do anything. I just junk them once it gets to that point. But anyway, that's where we're at. Hope y'all enjoy the videos, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.